Hello there, my name is Midas from Nigeria, and I am really excited to be a part of this learning course and community. To be an educator, it has been, I've always wanted to actually know Python as a language and also be able to teach it. I've always known pictoblox, but I've never actually dived into it this much. So this is really exciting for me to actually learn. And thank you very much for this opportunity. So here I'm going to explain the activity for this session, which is the simple interest calculator. I'm starting from line 1. The line 1 here, the first line here, explains the price that is chosen, which is Toby. This is self-generated. This is automatically generated. It's automatically generated by the ID here. The first coding part is where we define the function, which is where we use DEF here, which is short for define, and the name of the function is interest calculator. So for the interest calculator, because of the inputs we'll be taking in, which is important for the calculation, we have to add arguments, which are the 3 arguments we added here: principal, rate, and time. So after adding those 3 arguments, this signifies that we are going to need those arguments that work as variables in this function. We had a colon to explain that we're starting a function and therefore our indentation. So now we defined amount as a variable here, which is what's supposed to give us the payable amount back, the amount payable back by whoever is requesting a loan, which is principal plus the PRT, principal, rate, and time, all over 100. So now this return here is returning amount. We're returning amount here, which is after the whole program, after the function has run, the result from the running of the function is what is going to be returned, which is the amount. However, for this function to run, this argument, principal, rate, and time, have to be collected from the user who is trying to use the calculator, and that is where we ask Toby here, the sprite, Toby will ask you, the user, the sprites, to impute the values of the different variables. First is going to ask the input, that's why you have sprite dot input here to collect the value from the user for principal, and then store it in this principal variable, this principal variable will be created here. So that means principal variable will now become whatever number that the user types in, and we have floats here to convert whatever number is typed in into a float, right? That is into decimals. Same thing goes for rate and time as well. So even if you write it in an integer like 34, it's going to add decimals to it, like 3.0. Now after it has collected the data of each and every single each one of those 3, then use sprite.say like we used earlier. Sprite.say is what is going to give out the results, and sprite.say we have amount is in a string. So this is the text that doesn't change. However, we are adding this to a string, right? We are concatenating this, we're joining this to the string here. Okay. So now this string here is what is going to be printing out. Whatever the result is being converted to a string, so that Toby can easily say it out as a normal text here, because if it's going to be recorded as a decimal, it may not be, Toby cannot say it out like that. So it's converted to a string, and Toby will be able to read it all in a string form. Now it is being called here, the interest calculator, and then principal, rate, and time. So once this function is called, it goes back here to call the function, and then once it checks for this, since it has already entered, after you have entered all the data here, this is called, and then it applies all the data, that is principal, rate, and time, and fixes them respectively in the formula, gets the amount, which is the result of the calculation, and returns the amount, and that returned amount is what is going to be printed out here. And I'll give an example of that right now. If I run this, can translate 1,000, assuming principal is 1,000. Click here. Rate is at, let's say, 10%. That's fair. 10%, and the time is 1 year, or maybe 2 years. Okay. So I look at it, it says 1,200. The is the payable amount, the amount payable back is going to be 1,100, and that is how this one works. So this is already saved. All right. Thank you.